McDermott. Here, we talk about breaking those cycles of generational and societal conditioning that are affecting your relationships, your health, your work, and maybe even your children. Why? Because this is your gift of life to live on your terms so that you can feel safe being you, guilt-free. In today's episode, I'm talking with Lesley McShane, and this is an extra special episode because this was part of our Relationship Rescue Summit. Now, if you didn't attend the summit, that's fine. You can catch Lesley's information here, and you might be saying, why do we need a Relationship Rescue Summit? You know, relationships can be tough. They're tough to navigate sometimes. You know, everybody's different. We all have things going on in our life, and we're all carrying those generational and societal influences. And there are so many different unique areas that I know I never thought of as having an effect on all my relationships. And you know, we do know the most important relationship that we have is the one with ourselves. Your most important relationship is the one you have with yourself. So Lesley's going to speak with us today about how choosing active movement, being, physically active in our life, not just for our own physical and emotional, mental, spiritual health, but for the health of our relationships. You know, how we feel about ourselves carries over into everything that we do, including our relationships. So Lesley is the host of Redesigning Midlife. And that's another, please check out her podcast, Redesigning Midlife. We know if you're in midlife, I'm postmenopause, and it's quite the journey. And Lesley is a coach mentor helping women navigate that beautiful time of life. Yes, I do say beautiful. And she is an athlete. She is an award-winning cyclist. I hope you will find and take away some points today that will definitely get you thinking about how you can include movement and choose an activity or multiple activities in your life that will make you feel good about you and carry that over into every other aspect of your life. Thank you for joining us. And here's Lesley. Hello, and welcome to the Relationship Rescue Summit. I am thrilled to have Lesley McShane with us today, and I am actually going to use one of her quotes that I just love, but Lesley is an advocate for all things women, midlife, health, and wellness. I'm thrilled to have you here. She is also a certified personal trainer, a writer, and podcast host of Redesigning Midlife. I'm thrilled to have you here, Lesley. Thank you so much for giving the time and your expertise and your beautiful energy.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here because it is my new mission in midlife to empower as many other women as possible to know that they have the power to make the changes that they want in their life in whatever way, fitness, nutrition, career, anything. You have the
Exactly.
power.
And that leads me to your quote, which I love. It's embrace the empowerment of midlife with the realization that it is never too late to feel amazing. I love that. And it never is too late.
It's never too late. No.
Can you begin by telling us your journey? What brought you to this topic of midlife health and wellness for women? And maybe a little bit of your own personal experience.
That's a long story, but I will cut that story short for you and for everyone that is watching or listening. I spent most of my life in television, in film, in making films for immersive theaters for museums. So I have an education background. I always wanted to be in television, but it was one of those things that I didn't want to just entertain. I wanted to entertain and educate. So that's the route that I took through my career in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. In the meantime, I was also a competitive athlete. My husband and I both, well, he still races bicycles, but I raced bicycles for 16 years. And I tried every sport imaginable. I was not very good at a lot of them. I was okay at some of them, but I was really good at cycling. I'm a former national champion, and I also coached a junior cycling team
Oh.
um, about 10 years ago when my son was interested. You
Mhm.
know, you can't find cycling teams for young kids, so
No, I've not heard of one.
no,
No.
we created one. um, and, and that was fun because I was able to use creativity and education, and I was coaching. And then, my son left, and so someone else took over cycling team. And, I'm in my career. And as I started to get toward midlife, I had kind of an itch. Like, there has to be something more. Is this all there is? I've got to find my next iteration. And right after I turned 50, like in the next year, then the pandemic hit.
Mhm.
Um, and I was writing a blog. It was one of those things where I love to write. I've always loved to write. And so I had started a blog. But, like we all do, we all face that imposter syndrome of,
Ah, yes.
I can't put this out there. Who's going to read it? And if somebody does read it, what are they going to think of me? And so I had to work through all these different layers of putting myself out there. And as I did that, I learned a lot about myself and about myself as a midlifer. And I was able to compassionately look at other women who were the same age and kind of going through the same need for something more. And doing the blog, and then someone said, you should do a podcast.
Mm.
And I was like, "Ooh, a podcast." I
Right up your
listened to
alley.
it. Yeah, I'd listened to a few. I was listening to Oprah's Sunday one, just various different ones because I was working on, my personal development. And so there are a lot of great personal development podcasts out there. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. But what am I going to do a podcast about? And so I remember asking my Facebook community, my
Mhm.
friends in my Facebook, it's like, if I were to do this thing, how would all of you all feel about if I addressed midlife issues? And I was blown away.
I'm
Everybody,
sure you were.
everybody had a story of something that they wanted to talk about or have me talk about or address. And so I did. I started the podcast. I did it for, a year and a half where I was talking about all things midlife, including finances and retirement and body issues and just everything. And then at a certain point, someone said to me, have you ever thought about niching down a little bit in your podcast? Um, you know, you you're a fitness gal. I mean, I'm an athlete. I've been an
Yeah.
athlete for many, many years. I know how to motivate myself to do that. And because this person that was talking to me, this was an area that she was having issues in. And she said, I think having somebody like you in my ear, encouraging me, motivating me, and, you know, going through health and wellness issues of midlife would be the right place for you. And I said, I think that you are right. And so that's how I kind of niched down into this health and wellness / fitness and nutrition area when it comes to my podcast and the things that I'm offering.
Which leads me to a question.
Hmm.
With everything that you've experienced, and we actually have been in the same circle for, gosh, it's been
Couple
a couple
years.
years now.
Yeah.
Yes. So I've had a lot of exposure to you and your work and even the fun stuff. And it's been a pleasure to watch you experience the things that you love. How do you feel? Because the summit is about relationships, and I might say to myself, well, how does all of this have anything to do with relationships? But what we don't realize, which I didn't realize for the longest time, is all the unique areas in life that really were affecting my relationship with myself, which I was taking out to all my other relationships. How do you find what you're doing comes back and helps the individual with her relationship with herself and then carries over to other? How does it help and hurt?
Well, everything that has to do with how you feel, I feel goes back to your fitness and your overall health. Because if you don't have your health, if at some point you woke up and your health wasn't there, or you were struggling with something, you want nothing more than to have it back.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where we need to get with ourselves to take care of ourselves now, so that we don't get to a place where it's our health is gone and there's nothing that we can do about it except for maintain what we have at that moment. Consistent exercise, it takes commitment, it takes discipline, it takes making promises to yourself that you keep. And it's something that doesn't depend on anybody else. It is all up to you and the decisions and the choices that you make yourself every single day. And once you're able to keep your promises to yourself, then it builds a trust up inside of yourself, that you trust yourself. I mean, say you were working with someone every day and they kept telling you that they were going to do something every day, and then they didn't do it. And, after a while, you're like, you don't trust anything that they say. And the same is true for us. We tell ourselves, I'm going to eat better today. I'm going to get all my water today. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to get some exercise. I'm going to lift some weights. I'm going to do some cardio. And then you don't do it. And then you go through that every single day for a while. Then in your head, well, I can say it, but I'm not going to do it. But if you make the decision that you're going to do that thing, and then you do it, and then you do it again the next day and the next day, then you start to trust yourself that anything that you say that you can do, that you can, because you trust that you're going to make the right choices to do that thing. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying then is that trust in yourself is going to carry over to other areas of your life.
Yeah. I mean, if you have confidence in yourself and you have trust in yourself, it affects every other part of your life. It improves your relationships with other people. You're able to listen to and watch and talk to other people with compassion and with empathy, and you can support them in the things that they want to do and the things that they want to achieve, because you're already doing that yourself.
Yes. Very nice. Yes.
Very
well said.
Yeah. It's very important. Taking care of yourself and starting with yourself, it just spills out onto everything else in your life, your family, your social interactions, your work environment, everything.
Agreed. With midlife and what Lesley is talking about, what we're both talking about, and your specialty is midlife, but what you're speaking is the gamut of age. It can be for,
absolutely,
whether it be a teenager or someone of senior years. So don't let yourself be taken back by the word midlife. I do want to point something out that occurs in midlife. But this, midlife has become a wide range. It's
right.
There's a wide range now of
there are no set ages of when it begins.
The new this is the new
when
that.
it is. Exactly.
But I would like to ask, because I think this is something in the health and the midlife and it affects everything. And I'm saying this from personal experience, is perimenopause. We all talk about menopause. That gets all the attention, menopause.
Mhm.
But perimenopause is kind of shushed.
Mhm.
It's just, well, it's just a thing. Well, it's a huge thing. And I personally know it to be bigger than the menopause. It affected my relationships
Mhm.
because it was with myself was just in the toilet at the time with going through this, because of the fact of not being able to get anyone to listen to me and to hear what I was saying.
Right.
And sometimes you're not even sure, you think you're losing your mind. Oh my God, it's like a friggin' roller coaster. Right?
Yeah.
But these things of health and wellness, whether it's physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, all this health is so important to everything that we do. What have you found in the experience of women being afraid to maybe talk about going through something, whether it's perimenopause or some other real physical change in midlife? But that's the biggie. And then there's, of course, the fear around the change. How do you find that? Have you had the experience yet, or working with your clients, of the experience of how they're navigating relationships with themselves and others going through that type of change?
Well, I found, and I have talked to a lot of women on my podcast. I like to have people who are forward thinkers in this area, because it has been a lot of hush hush. When I turned 50, the word perimenopause and the word menopause, nobody was talking about those. But as I have gotten into this area and into this space, I have been finding a lot of women who, they just want to talk about it, and we want to encourage people to talk about it, because the more you talk about it, the more it normalizes the conversation.
Yes.
You need to be, if you have daughters, you need to be talking about it with them, so they're not so, oh, that's just something that happens to old ladies. No, it's happening to me, and I'm not old.
Early. It can start very early.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's, I think that I believe that it is something that should not be thought of as a curse, which it has been described as. I like to think of it, there are things that we have to overcome during this time in our lives. There are a lot of physical symptoms and mental symptoms, and navigating all of that. But I like to think of this time in our lives as empowering. And I have mentioned that before. I like to think of the freedoms that come with going into menopause and being postmenopausal. I like to be thankful for those things. And my mental state at this time of my life. I feel completely in control of my life and what I want, and screw it, if I want to do such and such, I'm going to go for it. I don't have to be scared of anything anymore. I have enough experience, enough living experience in my life, that I can do anything that I want to do. And, and it's not just midlife, it's in menopause, it's this time of life. It's just, it's a great place to be. And I want, despite all the symptoms, I want women to feel like it's a new birth for them almost.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you don't have the fears, you just go and do whatever it is that you want, which, hallelujah, amen to that. So support that. That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But what would you offer? What do you offer those that have the fear. We all have the fear. It's just, I liken it to developing a new relationship with fear, almost like a friendship with fear. You're in this together, but we
Mhm.
can't let fear control our life. And that's quite often the case, that fears control lives.
Mhm.
What do you offer for those that are afraid and they think I can't, or I'm too fill in the blank?
Mhm.
And on top of it all, their energy is probably already low and they're thinking, oh gosh, how can I exercise, move my body when I'm already feeling the way I am? What types of tips? And I know you actually teach a lot on your private group and social media on Facebook,
Mhm.
and I've enjoyed some of your videos that you teach. So how would you what would you offer today to help someone get through these initial points of, oh, how can I,
Yeah.
with the way they're
Well,
feeling?
yeah, that there were kind of two things there. The first thing that I would tell anyone, no matter what their age, there is no such thing as can't. Can't is
Mm,
such a heavy-handed
agreed.
word. The second you say you can't do something, it does something in your head that won't allow you to bypass it. Uh, but if you say, I can, there's no reason why you can't do anything. You can work out, you can lift weights, you can become consistent with exercise, you can do anything. You just have to make the decision to do it. The second part of that is, I'm too tired. I don't have any time. I'm too tired at the end of the day, or whatever. I can't because I'm too old. Those are all just ways around. That's just another one of those can't things. Of course you can. And the thing about it is, if you are consistent with exercise, if it's something that you incorporate, and we're not talking about hours and hours every day, we're talking about 30 minutes, maybe 5 days a week. We're talking 2.5 hours out of your entire week that you get a little exercise, whether it's cardio or it's resistance training or whatever. It has been shown that if you do that day after day after day, it empowers you and you will have greater energy levels if you do that. I wish I had like a percentage or something like that. It's one of those, take my word for it. But
Well,
if you
yeah.
exercise, you're going to have more energy to do everything. You're going to increase your stamina. And so that you're going to be able to go out and tackle all of your daily things, all of your responsibilities, and you're going to be clearer minded, and you're going to have better relationships, and you're going to be more productive all the way around.
And one
That's the
thing
way
that
it
I
is.
found, and you probably the first time you ever got on a bike, and there is something about when and it's not like when you're a kid, it's different when you get on and you're cycling. And I can
Mhm.
remember when I thought, I'm going to learn how to spin. And the first spin class I went to, I thought I was going to die, but I didn't die.
Right.
Second and third one, I thought I was going to die, but I still didn't die.
You thought you were going to die just a little bit less.
Just a little bit less. But, and it was scary. It was something new, the fear of
Yeah.
the unknown. But
Right.
it's exactly what you're saying. When you step in to do something different that you thought you couldn't. And whenever I did something of that nature, for example, the spin, because then that got me outside on the bike.
Right.
And it was like, oh yeah. Oh,
Mm.
I'm all that and more now.
Yeah.
But
Feel the wind through my
yeah,
hair.
it just gives you, I felt jazz. And then the
Yeah.
next question was, okay, what's next?
Right.
What else can I do that I thought
Right.
I couldn't do?
Exactly.
And that then was all part of my personal growth, but it was really about learning about myself. And you're right, because
Yeah.
it's a whole new friendship that you develop with yourself.
Yeah.
And you're sharing this excitement with yourself. And then you can't help but share it and have it roll over into other areas of, whether it's even happier with strangers when you're out, sometimes it's just nice to say hello to somebody in the market, but it just carries over to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, you're becoming a role model for other people.
Yes.
Because people
Yes.
are watching you and they're seeing what you're doing and they're seeing the transformation and the changes in you. And they're kind of like, they're one of those, hey, if she can do it, then maybe I can too. And so you're continually spreading that hope to other people.
Let me ask you this. I have a good one for you.
Mhm.
I didn't lay this one on you early, so this will be a surprise.
Okay.
I was there, the biking, the gym, I mean, the challenges and having just a wonderful time and getting myself in such good shape. And when I'm thinking about the shape, I'm thinking about my health, my wellness. I want to be healthy. I want to be able to enjoy my grandchildren and to
Mhm.
just be well. Then I developed a physical challenge that began to slow me down and take me out of the things that I was loving doing. And then when I moved here into the South, which began to help my joints, COVID hit. So between that process, and even though I continued to stay well through COVID, as far as losing weight and staying healthy and trying to find that balance of being in pain, but trying to stay healthy, that was a challenge. But then going through other physical changes within my body, it began to affect my weight. Now I've since gotten those in order, but my thyroid started to go off, and that's what I was having trouble with. There are these things that pop up, and it's like, oh God, okay, now I've got to start all over again. But I can say with the work that I've already done, it hasn't taken me back where I'm taking it out on everyone around me. So that's a
Right.
good thing.
Mhm.
But how do you process and serve someone who thought, oh my God, I did all that work and now here I am, and now I've got to, what can I do now? Or why bother? You know, sometimes the mind just goes crazy with telling us what
Sure.
we shouldn't do.
Well, first of all, feel sorry for yourself for a few minutes.
5
It's
minutes.
fine. It's fine. Feel all the feelings, be mad, be frustrated, and then say on with the show. What's the new plan? Because, that's the thing. You were talking about, working outside of your comfort zone and moving to the next thing. It's just another iteration. It's kind of like, okay, so I'm not going to do that anymore. So what am I going to do? And it may be trial and error of what feels good. The thing is, you can't stop. You can't stop, especially the older you get, the longer you stop, the harder it is to start
Mhm.
again. And if you've been working and then you get hurt or you go through something, it's much easier to begin doing something else because you already have a certain amount of fitness already. So you're starting from here and building up as opposed to at zero and building up. So like I said, feel sorry for yourself for 5 minutes and then be like, okay, well, let's get out the whiteboard and let's see what we can do and what we can change. I'm going to try this. No, that didn't feel good. I didn't really like that.
Oh, I love
Okay,
that you're going there.
I'm going to try that. All right, I like that. Okay, maybe I'll do that every now and then. Because that's the thing. Whatever you enjoy doing, you don't have to do that
Thank
thing
you.
every single day.
Or that everyone else is doing.
Right, exactly. I mean, I happen to love riding my bike and I do that every day, but I do get tired of that and I like to switch it up with a walk or attempt to run until my knees decide they don't like that anymore. But there are a lot of people who, they like to do a HIIT cardio workout on Monday. They like to take a walk on Tuesday. They like to do yoga on Wednesday. They like to do, I don't know, maybe chase their grandkids around on Thursday. And then on Friday, they rest. You always have to have a rest day in there somewhere. So, there is no one set way of getting consistent exercise. When I say consistent, I don't mean like you have to do that thing every day.
Mhm.
It's just you're moving your body, you're increasing your heart rate, you're working on your cardiovascular health. You're throwing in some resistance training here and there to avoid sarcopenia and osteoporosis and
Mhm.
So, it's each individual person has to make their plan. There is no
Yes.
one right plan
Yes.
of
Thank
how
you.
to do
That's
it.
what I was hoping you were getting to. And I know,
Yeah.
having seen your videos, I knew it was in there.
Yeah.
Because yes, that is so important.
Mhm.
People would say, "Oh, go run." If I'm running, something's wrong. I'm just not a runner, and it has to be something
Yeah.
that
There are so many people that
serves.
say, I hate exercise. And that's a pretty broad
Broad.
statement. That's
Yes.
very broad. Now, if you consider exercise to be riding a bike, running, or swimming, then you don't like those three, then you don't like exercise. But exercise can be so many
Mhm.
things, so many things. Yoga is
Yeah.
exercise, pickleball,
Mhm.
golf, anything that raises your heart rate for
Gets you
a certain
moving.
amount of
Yep.
time, that's exercise.
Yeah.
Sex, that's
There you
exercise.
go. Are there any particular, now that we're on the subject, any particular, if someone said, well, okay, I want to start with something, where could I start that isn't going to overwhelm them? They can start small, feel
Mhm.
good about it, and then take the next step. Where would you
Well,
suggest someone starting a couple of different places?
I mean, it depends on your level of activity already. I mean, so if you have been not active at all, I would suggest starting with a 10-minute walk, just a 10-minute walk. Do that for a week. See how that feels. If you feel like pushing yourself to 15 minutes, go to 15. Get comfortable there, then work up to 20 or whatever activity it is. Just know that the first day that you go out, this is just an analogy, the first day you go out, you're not going to run a marathon. It's just not going to happen.
Excuse me.
You're going to be tired. You're going to be sore. You're going to get hot and sweaty, probably,
And it's okay.
and it's okay. You have to know. And this is one of the things I stress in my podcast. It's okay to be a beginner, even if you're whatever age you are,
Mhm.
because we can all be a beginner at something. Because at some point, in a couple of weeks, you're not a beginner anymore, and you're getting better and better, and then you're gonna add to it or do something different. And so, yeah, I would start very small. Whatever it is, start small and then work up from there.
And also, I would add the awareness of body and how you're feeling, and the hormonal changes in your mood change.
Mm-hmm.
And then it won't be long before you are seeing an interaction, a different interaction with the people that are in your life.
Yeah. 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 Exercise is definitely a big proponent to help you deal with perimenopause and menopause symptoms, along with good nutrition. I was going to throw that in there, but since I'm here for fitness, I'll say it's for fitness.
You can
Fitness.
say this is your time, and we want to offer as much information as we can to help, because as I said in various points of the summit, that these are areas that I never thought about, as I said, that have any reflection on our relationships. But almost everything that we do affects us personally. We take it personally, or we react. However, even if it's a good reaction,
Mhm.
it's still our experience, and that experience carries over to everything else. So if you've had a bad day at work and you come home, sometimes it's very common to take it out on your family.
Yep.
If you have a great day, you come home, you share that goodness with your family. And we don't necessarily think of various points that, even going into your closet, which is one of our summit interviews, who would ever think your closet would have anything to do with your relationships? But it most certainly does. And we don't think about these things. And the more we can go, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And it's not meant to overwhelm people. It's just awareness, and that you can take these little things and change them up a bit, just like moving your body, changing it up in a way that serves you. And even Lesley offers her workouts right on her page. It's something you could do with Lesley, and
Yeah.
join her in those right on Facebook. Is there any last minute tip that you would like to offer that someone can go out today and begin to feel like I really want to enhance the relationship with myself first and foremost?
Yeah, I would really, really encourage everyone to focus on their fitness because, like I said at the beginning, if you feel good about yourself, it touches everything in your life. And the thing about exercise and consistent exercise is that it doesn't take talent. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to have a degree in it. Like I said, it takes no talent at all. As long as you can get your heart rate up doing whatever, dancing in your living room,
There you
whatever
go.
it
I
is.
do that. I love to do that.
Yeah, whatever it is, then you're gonna benefit from it. All it takes, the only thing that you absolutely need is the power of your choice and making the right decision every single day.
Beautiful.
That's all you
Beautiful.
need.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I've loved everything you've shared. Thank you so much for being with us. And all of
Thanks for
Lesley's
inviting me.
information is available to everyone. And I believe Lesley's going to be offering a free gift as well. So that information
Yeah.
will be available as well. And please feel free to reach out and follow her on her Facebook page. Tell us what it is.
It's it's the private Redesigning Midlife Facebook group. And if you go to my website or if you listen to the podcast, the link is everywhere to that. So come be with us. We're a community of midlife women.
Yeah,
Just
it's a great
supporting each
place.
other.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate everything that you've shared. And
Thank
thank you all for being with us, and stay tuned for more of the Relationship Rescue Summit. So what did you take away from today's episode with Lesley? It can be difficult with the way that the pace of life, and let's face it, as women, we do tend to put ourselves, on the back burner. But you've heard Lesley speak about how important it is to be active, to be physically active, especially, we can't wait until we reach a certain point in life and it's beyond our reach. It's almost to the point of being too late if our health deteriorates so much. A couple of takeaways for me. And the first is because it's exactly what I reached the point and I remember myself asking the question where Lesley talked about that itch. Is there something more? And I think that we all feel that our soul is asking, it's trying to tell us that there is still so much more to life. And the noise outside and within, we miss that sometimes, but it's there. And if you let yourself breathe and feel it, you will feel it, you will notice it, and you will hear it. So also my second takeaway, keeping your promises to yourself builds trust with yourself. That was important to me because I don't know how many times I've said, I'll start the gym on Monday, or I'll start doing this on this day, and then I don't. And that was really an aha moment for me because, there's always that excuse, that distraction to, well, I'll do it tomorrow. But ladies, we have to start putting ourselves first. And it's not to take away from others. The more we take care of ourselves, the more we love ourselves, the more we step fully into our own life, is automatically going to carry over to everyone else that we love and care about. It's only going to enhance all of that so much more. And third, where she said you absolutely can lift weights, or you can bike, or you can. And that is such an important, you focus on you can, because that little voice, we all have it. That little voice in there that says, you can't do that. You're too this, you're too that. Who do you think you are? So focus on telling that little voice to hush the heck up. I'm saying that politely. And focus on you can, because you absolutely can. We all can. Just be creative and find what's best for you. And if that means cranking up the music and dancing like crazy around your living room, go for it. Please reach out to Lesley. Check out her podcast. Reach out to her if you have questions, if you'd like to speak with her more in depth about what she offers as far as guiding you through midlife and in physical activity. Please reach out to her. And as always, you can reach me at kmyourlifeyourway@gmail.com, kmyourlifeyourway@gmail.com. Let me know if there's any particular topics you would like to cover, and I will get the proper guest in here for you or go over it myself. Thank you so much for being part of the community. Wishing you much joy, a whole lot of peace, and many, many, many blessings. Bye-bye now.